Hi, my name is Katie Riggs. I'm from Parkersburg High School, Thespian Troupe number 264, and this is my stage management tech project. So I believe that in order to be a successful stage manager, you have to have 3 traits. So these traits are organization, responsibility, and proactiveness. And so I'm just going to be going over my portfolio and explaining how I fulfilled these traits by doing the different organization things that I did. And then I'm also going to go through my script and then show a couple tools that I've used to help me achieve organization and responsibility and proactiveness. So the first thing I want to show you is our calendars for our show. So here I have the dates highlighted just to call them to my attention because I know I can't miss any. And we have dates on these calendars all the way starting back with auditions for our competition show, which was in October. So I did this just so I had awareness of when everything was going to be, and so, you know, if actors or anybody had date conflicts or questions about anything, I was able to answer it even, you know, a month in advance. So the next thing I would like to show is my list of tech responsibilities. So because stage management is very heavy in tech, and these are basically all people that are in my control, I decided to make a list of every person doing tech, what scene they would be doing what in. So for example, for the opening scene, setting it up, Haley and Blake, they're going to move the couch out together, and then Blake by himself will bring in the side table. Misty and May would bring on the door and wait, and then I showed after one, which just shows taking off different set pieces and bringing on new ones. So I think this was really important for not only me and my director, just so we had an understanding that everything was getting done, but also for my tech so that they understood easily, you know, what are we moving when, and if they had any questions about it or any concerns, they could bring it up. And this is also helpful. So for example, if we're watching a run through of our show and we see that in scene 1 the side table wasn't there, we automatically can look up this piece of paper and see who was supposed to bring it in, and then figure out why they couldn't. Was there not enough time? Were they not aware that they had that responsibility, etc.? So that just really helps with effectiveness during our rehearsals, so we can get as much done as possible as quickly as possible. So this really just shows the proactiveness and the organization and how important that is as a stage manager. And so I did that for all of the scenes. And then I have a prop list for all of the scenes. So even though the props are the actors' responsibilities, I found that it was important to have a list of props that were needed for our show for 2 reasons. One, to make sure that we had them when we were fulfilling what the script and the show demands. So for example, the show is Don't Fear the Reaper. So obviously the Reaper has to have a scythe, and our show would not make sense at all if we hadn't had a scythe. So it was important that I listed it down, that it was a prop that we needed. And then also I have it listed what props are needed in what scenes, and this was incredibly helpful because that way our actors would know if they were coming on for a certain scene, they would know, oh, I need to bring this prop with me, or then we would know that tech needed to set that prop up so that the actors would have it to their disposal. So again, that just helped with communication, which is also a really big aspect of stage managing. I think the stage manager is kind of like the buffer between directing staff and tech, and then the actors themselves and tech. So I think it's very important that there is easily communicated points and what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how it needs to be done, because otherwise the show is not going to be successful during its run or during its rehearsals, which is obviously very problematic. So the next thing I want to show is all of the stage management duties. So the first type of duties that the stage manager has to fulfill is pre-show planning. So under this, we have to write down all the props needed, if there are any specific costume changes, light and sound cues, And then also, you know, what roles have actors been cast as? What is their contact information? All things like that that really need to be done as soon as auditions are over. And I found this was very helpful. During our run through, for example, I wrote down a list of all the props we were going to need for the show, so then that way we already knew it and we were able to get those props a lot quicker than we would have otherwise, which was very helpful to the actors because they were able to practice with their props longer, and then helpful to tech too because, you know, they didn't have to stress about, oh, there's a new prop and what do I do with it, and the same thing for the actors. And then we also have before rehearsal responsibilities. So here it's consistently communication. So for example, like I need to make sure that the actors and the directing staff are connected and they're constantly communicating. They understand what the needs that need to be met are. And then I also need to communicate and understand the tasks that we want to do at rehearsal. So for example, you know, what scenes are going to be run and who needs to be there for what scenes. Do we need to have tech at this rehearsal? Are we trying to block a specific scene? Do we need to work out certain lines? Do we need to do some characterization with the actors? That's really important for me to understand, so that way I can make note of that, and if we miss that and we don't get to it, I know that that's something we need to put at the top of the list for next rehearsal. So that just helps with the efficiency and proactiveness part of it. And then during rehearsals, I need to know everything that's completed during the rehearsal. So for example, if we were supposed to finish scene 5 and we didn't finish it, I need to be able to know that, so that way we aren't just going around and forgetting it. And that's just important, and it de-stresses a lot of things for the show, especially when it's right before run, because then during tech and dress rehearsals, actors don't have to worry about things like blocking or memorizing lines. They already understand that that was something that we did earlier, and that's something that we need to do earlier. And then I also said, you know, calling lines for actors, following along in the script, and making any notes of things that actors might have missed or things that were put on wrong for tech. And then also hold specific scene changes or cue to cue run-throughs for tech, which was something I did a few times, especially for our competition show, because our tech was so new to it. It was really important that I did that. And then after rehearsals, it was important to listen to notes given by actors and help understand what the actors felt, how they felt about the rehearsal. Was it successful? Was it not successful? And if they're comfortable doing the scene. So for example, we have somebody in our show who is getting completely naked down to his underpants. And it's very important that we make sure that he is comfortable what's happening, and the same thing with his female counterpart. So I think that's very important because that's just me being proactive and taking care of my cast. And then last, I have my script. So here in my script, you can see that I did specific notes of what our stage is supposed to look like. And then for my light cues and my sound cues, I would say light cue 3 warning, and then the actual light cue and where it is happening. I used little brackets in order to properly show that. And then moving on to my script, I always had my script on me, and my script includes a contact list for everybody in the cast. So in case anybody missed rehearsal or I needed to check in on anybody, that was very easy information to find. And then I used my iPad a lot for attendance records, which made it very helpful for me to just keep everything organized and have a digital copy of everything to send to whether it's the director or anybody else. Thank you.